Hello, everyone. This is the final episode of Getting Real with Andrew Cohen. I'm your host, Andrew Cohen. This is our last episode, and our last episode will be with Daniel DiMaggio. The reason why this is the last episode, I don't know if you read on Twitter, but it's been sort of a what do you call it? I don't know, a financial burden on me to do this podcast and run it. It's cost me a lot of money a month to get the interviews, to get to keep it going, and it just hasn't been. As you can see, I haven't gotten an interview within the last month, and that isn't good. And also, the thing is, I'm going to college in the fall, so I'd have to end it anyway. And not going to have a lot of time to do it there. But, yeah, so this is the last one, and we're going to be having it with Daniel DiMaggio. I'm not too upset just because, I'm only 17, and, I have my whole life to do, podcasting and do audio shows, and, it's given me a lot of experience. It's given me a lot of experience that I can use in the future. And hopefully, I can go back to it someday. And, yeah, because I'm going to school for film and, audio is a big part of that. And, yeah, so I think that's pretty much about it. It's been really fun. It started as a YouTube channel. It went from a YouTube channel and a podcast, and I was doing it for 2 years. As 5 Live Comedy. Then I canceled it to start Getting Real with Andrew Cohen, and I had some amazing conversations with some really, really great people, and tons and tons of fun. I made some friends doing it, and I'm gonna, have those relationships for the rest of my life, or for as long as I can. But yeah, so our last episode, anyways, is going to be Daniel DiMaggio. He is a great guy. He stars as Oliver Otto on the ABC show American Housewife, and he's a really cool guy. He, he's exactly, if you see the show, he's exactly how you would imagine him in real life. Like, he's cool. He has the same, he has that same sort of sarcastic sassiness that he does on the show. And he's a really cool guy, so I'd really take a look. So anyways, yeah, so this is our last episode. Anyways, thank you guys so much for a great couple of years. I hope you had a lot of fun with our guests. And anyways, here he is. Here is my conversation with Daniel DiMaggio. Hey, Daniel, thanks for joining me.
No problem.
Yeah, so let's get it started. Let me ask you, where did you grow up?
Well, I've lived on the West Coast my whole life. I was born in Los Angeles. So, yeah, I've been, I guess, a Cali boy my whole life, So whenever I go to the East Coast, I feel like I'm freezing and I have to put like 4 layers of clothing on,
It's kind of ironic because your character, Oliver, lives in like the richest part of the East Coast.
Yeah, I mean, I have some family on the East Coast, so sometimes I'll establish like a thicker accent. Kind of random, but it works,
Yeah. Do you go over there a lot? Where's the show filmed? Is it filmed in the East Coast, or is it out here?
It's filmed in Los Angeles.
Okay. Okay.
But it takes place in Westport.
Mm-hmm. And when you got the role of Oliver, did you sort of know a lot about the place of Westport, and it's sort of like in all sort of like the jokes that they the show was making about Westport, or did you sort of like learn that as it went on?
I had no idea. I mean, I probably pronounced Connecticut as Connecticut, you know? I was like, I had no idea, to be honest. But I had a chance to go back, and it's really surreal how they depict it. It's very similar. I'm not used to it. It was a different vibe for me, and it was like, I don't know, man. It was pretty fancy. I felt a little underdressed when I went there. I mean, it was pretty great, but you know.
Is there anywhere sort of in LA that you would describe as like the Westport of LA or the Westport of California?
I mean, yes, like I'm not that type of kid, but I guess I'd say Beverly Hills is probably pretty similar. It's kind of like upscale. I mean, it's kind of like it's a rich town, a lot of wealthy people, gated communities. I mean, yeah, and I don't go there really, but I would say it's very similar to that.
Yeah. So how did you get the show? Like sort of where, like what were you doing? Like how did you, from when you heard about it to like being casted, like how did you get casted?
I mean, I got called in one day. I had no intentions on booking it. It was just another audition, you know. And then it started. I probably auditioned like 5 times until the final. And it was like a March Madness bracket. It kept narrowing down the kids from like hundreds of kids down to 3. And I feel like they knew what they want. They just didn't want it to be obvious that they were going to pick me. But I guess it was pretty obvious at the end that they wanted me, you know, and I felt pretty confident.
You do sort of look like someone. I was able to see the second season of the show. I didn't see the first one.
Yeah, that's the season I reckon. I mean,
the second one is the better one, you would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to keep getting better probably, so.
So yeah, I saw the second season, and it was very, very funny. It was very, like, there's not a lot of shows on, you know, it's very hard to, like, make sort of network TV funny because of all the restrictions that come in.
Oh, yeah,
but
like a lot of things that are politically incorrect. Yeah, it's hard, you know?
Yeah. So, and I have to say, it was, you guys pulled it off. It was very, very funny.
Yeah.
So, what did I say? Yeah, so when you, so let's talk about your character, Oliver. When you read the pilot initially, did you sort of connect with anything specific about Oliver?
Not whatsoever. I've never been that, like, rich snobby kid who, like, wants to go to a good college. I mean, I wear, like, sports t-shirts and, like, sweatpants, you know? Like, I would never dress like him. So, but it was, like, I don't know. It's kind of easy to play, like, a douchebag. I don't know what it is. Maybe because I was a douchebag. I don't know. You know, like, maybe I'll come off as that guy sometimes. But it's like, I didn't really correlate with him that much. But I feel like once I became that character, I did. It was, but I just didn't know. I'd never really been that kid. Yeah.
Your character's very interested in ballet because it's his gate into getting into Harvard, which.
Yeah, I never looked upon it. Like, I was always like a baseball kid, but it's like I don't know. I've been doing it for a year now or so, but it's like I would consider it as a sport and a very talented sport. And it's hard too.
So you feel like because of the show you have a new appreciation of dancing than you had before?
Yeah, you know, I took a frickin' tapping class in 2nd grade and that was it. So I had no experience going in. But yeah, I feel like I've definitely considered dancing and I mean I've given it more respect now. You know, I'm not embarrassed or anything. Yeah.
Did you ever take any classes before, since that was a major part? Because there are scenes that are like, you know, dancing scenes. So I was wondering.
Yeah, I had no experience. I mean, in the episode, there was like a scene where I was like supposed to like have a flat back, and I was probably the only guy that saw it. I had like a really curved and oval back, and it's pretty obvious that I had no experience, but like, just like my character, I'm making progress too. We had to start somewhere, so I've definitely gotten better from the first time I started.
Do you know anybody like that, sort of not doing ballet, but any of those people who are sort of super obsessed of getting into like an Ivy League or school like Harvard, who do everything they can and are always kind of like, I need to do this so I can get into Harvard. I need to do this so I can get into there. Do you know anybody sort of like that?
There were a lot of like kids in middle school who were like goody two shoes, but like, I mean, there's kids around the world like that who are doing everything they can to get into their favorite college, and I understand, you know, that's like the prime of your life, and you want it to, I don't know, like that's where it's gonna start. But they care about a good education, and I understand. I was never that kid. I was never over compulsive about wanting to get into a good college. I definitely would, and I work hard towards it, but you know, it's a hit or miss. So
yeah, I mean, in terms of acting, it's sort of like that's sort of a thing that like, I mean, it's nice if you went to college for it, but I mean, I guess if you're already doing it successfully at your age, it doesn't really make a difference.
Yeah, right. Not a lot of young actors studied it in college. You know, like Leonardo DiCaprio dropped out of high school over in my village, and he continued his career. But I would like Jodie Foster did. She took a couple years off and went to Yale. Like, I could easily do that, you know, like if everything's going strong for me. And then I could like study film school and like become a director or something. Like, there's all these paths, you know.
So if you had to choose, I guess you mentioned being a director. Is that something you would want to do in the future? Or would you want to like go in the sort of behind the scenes avenue, or sort of stay on camera?
I've always been in front of the camera, and it's not something I've hesitated from or have stage right from. That's why it came so easy for me, because I felt comfortable in front of it. But I've never considered being behind the camera before. But like, being with like multiple directors and very experienced directors, like I can learn from these people, which is great. Like, it's also like I'm learning lessons throughout this process, so I'm getting a lot of education on the industry.
Do you ever go to them and be like, hey, how did you do this? Or do you like sort of like, hey, how so like, do you ever try to like get a lesson from them, I guess, in directing?
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't try to get in their business usually, but like, I don't know, if like Leah Thompson's directing, I'll ask for her opinion or something. Usually I'll ask a director for their acting opinion, like how I should do this or that, not like what they're doing as a director. Because like, I like a director who was an actor previously, because they've had like experience on both sides, which is always pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw you. There was I think you did like some a photo on Instagram with you, I remember seeing Jodie Foster did direct an episode, right?
Oh no, it was Helen Hunt.
Helen Hunt. Oh God, you get those.
Foster, but Helen Hunt directed one of our episodes.
Was that how cool? How cool was that?
I wasn't starstruck because I don't know. I guess I didn't know who she was, but like I feel, I don't know. I guess she was. A lot of people were stunned by her, and it was pretty great because like she's been in the industry for a long time. It was definitely pretty cool to work with her. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. So you also work with George Hamilton a lot, who plays Spencer.
Yeah, that guy's amazing, man.
Yeah.
You could sit for 4 hours and not get bored with him. I mean, like he's a genuine character, you know.
Did you sort of get all the jokes about him being tan? Because I didn't know him originally. Then I looked him up, and it was like there's all these jokes. He's like known as like the tannest man ever, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess.
I call him. I just made a nickname for him. I call him George Hamilton.
George Hamilton. That's good.
Yeah, and he just I see him on TV now. He's doing these like KFC commercials again, which is great. Like he's trying to get back into it. I mean, he's been acting. If you think about it, he's been acting for 2 centuries.
Mm-hmm. And so he's like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break here. Let's just go back to commercials.
Yeah, he has a choice now,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool.
Also on the show, you have a couple siblings. Do you have siblings in real life?
Like half siblings. I guess I get mad when the others call me an only child in interviews, but because I guess you have to give my half siblings credit where credit's due. But yeah, they're much older than me, so I never had a 16-year-old brother growing up, or a little brother growing up, or sister, vice versa. So I was always pretty much an only child growing up, because we were at a mall one time, and I was in a stroller. My sister was strolling me, and my dad was by my side, and someone thought my sister was the mom and my dad was the grandpa.
Wow. Are they that much older?
Yeah, I mean, it is a big gap. She was 16 when I was born.
So when you got into American Housewife and you finally be like, oh my God, I have two sisters now? Was that oh, I finally have a family?
Yeah, it was like a sandwich, I'm surrounded by sisters. Yeah, it's like a second family, you could the chemistry is definitely built. The bonds have been stronger over time, and yeah, I'm glad. I love them too, so it's pretty great. It's a brother-sister relationship. They'll get on your nerves, but I don't know. You'll resolve the conflict.
Yeah. I have a sister myself, so I see sort of when you interact with your sister. I mean, actually, in fact, when you interact with your sisters, it's generally a lot better than when I see other sisters and brothers, that sort of relationship. So
yeah.
So that was really interesting, and you guys sort of form this bond against.
Not that bad, but
yeah. Sorry, can you say that again?
No, it's not like I'm pulling a weave out of her hair. I think we're pretty mellow, But it's definitely we'll get on each other's nerves, and that's what's realistic about it. And then we'll bring it to the table on screen, and that's what makes it so much more realistic. It's the same relationship we have off screen, which is great.
So you guys do sort of play jokes off screen that sort of.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah, we have all these inside jokes. Yeah, it's realistic too. I don't know. Yeah.
I saw there's an episode where I guess you guys banded together against your parents. And that was I would never imagine that in the history of brother-sister relationships. I think it was the one where it was they were ruining your life. I know that's very broad. That's every single episode.
That's every single day.
Every single day, it's them ruining your life and somehow.
Yeah.
And so I guess you do have to stay together. And so also in the show your mom Katie Otto is very clearly overbearing. So have you ever had experiences with your own mom that you would consider sort of overbearing?
Definitely down the line somewhere. I mean, overprotective, or what do you mean by overbearing?
Well, yeah, I mean,
on.
Yeah, sort of over the top. I remember the episode where I guess your mom got you in jail.
Yeah.
Just to have make you have fun, or they'll do things, or I guess she'll do things I guess I don't know with Taylor to break up her friends. She'll do drastic measures just to interfere with her friendships, things like that. Have you ever?
My mom, for instance, will dance at my 12-year-old birthday party, and I'm like, this isn't your dance floor. Or she'll bring herself to my friend's birthday, and it's just kind of you're uninvited. So.
Yeah, they don't. She doesn't get the signal.
No, she doesn't. a lot of concerts, she'll go off, but it's like you can't control them, so they can control you, but you can't control them.
Exactly. Also, there was something I found I think the most unique thing about the show is the pet choice. You have a pig named Hans Gruber.
Pig. Yeah.
How did that come about? Whose idea was that?
I don't know. I don't know the history behind it. I feel like on set, like that thing, like it was very it kind of pooed a lot, especially like it was like nonstop. But we made jokes. Never mind. But like I don't know. He's gone now. If I'm blowing anything.
Oh. Yeah.
It was unique, and I feel like we try to be as unique as possible, like taking different routes, directions. So that was definitely. But it brought us together, I guess, and it caused a lot of conflict in the family. So.
On set, so you said on set the real pig, was it? How did you guys sort of control him or her? I don't know, him or her.
Yeah, I mean, well, I didn't interact with it that much. I'm always like, am I ever going to pet it? And I'm like, yeah, I got up close to it. It was huge. It was probably like 200 pounds at its peak or whatever. But there were pig trainers on set to control him.
Okay.
But yeah, he wasn't dangerous or anything.
Was there any instance where the pig sort of got out of control and you guys had to I don't know, leave the set or something for like 5 minutes just to get the pig under control or something?
Yeah, I mean, like we've been rolling, and then she'll like run off set suddenly, and we'll just have to adjust. But like they usually bribe him with treats, so. Yeah, I don't remember like a really sudden experience, but like she's got the pig's gotten up in like Katie's business before, so it wasn't serious.
Yeah. So there's an episode I thought was interesting where you sort of deal with death. You deal with, I guess it was sort of a double whammy death. This is gonna be, if you haven't seen the show up to this point, this is gonna be a big spoiler. You have 5 seconds to get off the podcast. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, yeah. So it was the death of Spencer and Hans Gruber. It was like the same episode, and I found it interesting how you were very passive to the death. Have you ever experienced that loss in your own personal life with like a family member or something, and sort of reacted the same way?
I mean, like a friend of the family. He died suddenly, and I feel like the same way that with George, it didn't hit me suddenly. Like, it hit me at a funeral when I was seeing pictures with him. That's when it really hit me. That I got emotional and stuff. But when I envisioned George through the pig, that's what got me.
Yeah, it sort of all came
late to a death. It's not easy, but part of life.
Yeah. What was sort of your, out of all the episodes you've done so far, sort of what's your favorite episode?
Let me think about that. Yeah, wow. Haven't thought about that. Probably let's see. Probably the Spring Gala, the last episode. I mean, that one stands out from them all. It was huge. It was a big, extravaganza, and they spent a lot of time on it. It was all Bollywood themed. We ended up shooting till 2 a.m. in the morning. So that was probably the most memorable night. It was one of the last nights of season 2. Last episode.
Okay, so it hasn't come out yet.
No, it hasn't come out. That's why I'm trying not to blow anything.
Okay, yeah.
But, but yeah, that was probably it, you know.
How often do you guys on the set do sort of big extravagant episodes. Was that like the biggest one, you think?
Yeah, definitely. We'll nitpick it, and then we'll probably, I don't know, we'll probably like the last episode will be a big theme, and then they'll bring on celebrities sometimes, and that'll be a big deal for everyone. And like that's pretty cool when they have special appearances. That's definitely part of it. Yeah, but I don't know. We don't like. There's possible like we haven't traveled anywhere yet for the show, which I'm looking forward to. Like,
if you could travel somewhere, if you could travel anywhere with the show, where would you guys go?
It would make sense if we went to Hawaii, probably.
Hawaii.
Where Spencer,
Why is that?
Like,
oh, okay.
That's where Spencer was talking about, like where he was going to go to retire or whatever, and that's where I would have spread his ashes. You know, that's probably where I would have spread them.
Yeah,
that would be great. And it's also like
Hawaii.
I've never been. Pretty cool.
Yeah, you'd finally have an excuse to go to Hawaii.
Yeah. All expenses paid too, I bet, which would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Initially, your relationship with George was sort of like or Spencer. I was doing. Yeah, I'm gonna get this right someday.
Yeah, no, right.
Yeah, so originally your character's relationship with Spencer was sort of like you were manipulating him to get his fortune.
I was using him. Yeah. But I realized that eventually he was falling for it, and he genuinely wanted my company. And so when he finally died, I feel like I didn't live up to his potential, and I regretted using him for the money, and I should have been genuine. And yeah, it was like,
do you know anybody sort of like that who's kind of do you know anybody kind of like that who's sort of, who's like sort of manipulative and has that sort of, not directly manipulative, but has that sort of sense about them?
Like in real life?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know people who have used someone. I can't think of anyone specifically, but I feel like I've used my parents in the past for like a gift or something, but it's like it doesn't turn out the way you wanted it to be. I mean, you regret it eventually. But
yeah. So okay. So there's something I wanted to talk about, and there's this Norwalk controversy.
Yeah.
It was weird because I live 10 minutes from Norwalk, so I heard about it. And I was like, somebody gave it.
Have they paper toweled your house yet, or are you okay?
No, I don't live in I live in Stamford, which is like 10 minutes from Norwalk.
Okay.
So it's in the city over. I go to Norwalk several times though, and I didn't hear anything about it. I was like, I told my dad, I was like, this is the most attention Norwalk has ever gotten in the history of being a town.
It looks like they put the attention though.
I don't know how they got Disney's attention. That was weird. That was like, how does Disney care about? I was like,
but
nobody.
If they got the whole town in there, it's probably only like 500 people, right?
It is. It was only 500. I was sad because
it goes to show you that all those 500 people probably watched the show too. So. Yeah,
I don't know now. What do you think they still watch it?
You know what? That builds the suspension. I'm not going to say I could care less. That's on them. But I would understand,
It's kind of weird because there's this other show on Fox called The Mick. Have you heard about it?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, so there's this other show on Mick who makes so many jokes about sort of this area. That takes place in Greenwich.
Yeah.
So they make a lot of jokes about sort of Stamford and Norwalk, and I guess they do mention Westport a bit. And they don't have any. They get away with it. Yeah. Nobody calls them.
Well, maybe no one watches their show. No, I'm just joking.
I don't know. That's also a funny show. That's also very good.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we caught a bad siege, you know. It was pretty. I guess I don't know, you know. I wasn't really a part of it. I don't really like to interrogate people. I mean, I understand where they're coming from. And, you know, if you want us to stop, we'll stop. I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a running joke, but
I thought it was very funny.
One time, I was doing like a ADR, which is like, I don't know, like after the show we'll do more lines so they get it. And I went into ADR to I said Norwalk in the episode, but they wanted me to change it to North Brampton after they heard of these allegations. So I had to change it and say North Brampton instead.
I only got the Norwalk pregnant girl joke, and I guess that was the only one in the second season before. And I thought that was very funny. It goes to show it's very hard to pull off stuff on. We
took advantage. We used to be in like an 8:30 time slot on Tuesday, and we definitely got darker once they threw us at 9:30, and it became less of like a family audience, I would have thought, at that time, you know. But we always want to be that family audience where kids can watch it too, but it's like pretty late, you know. I understand that kids have to go to bed and stuff.
Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a blast, really. It was so great because it's great to see a show I could truly connect to. I mean, because I live like 10 minutes from Westport, 20 minutes from Westport, so it was fun to see another show I could like be like, okay, I get these jokes.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're in the midst of it all. Like, you can understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I know people,
Do you know people in LA who just don't really get it? They're like, they see and they're like, what? Like, what are they talking about?
Yeah. Well, all my friends in LA, definitely. They don't even know where Westport is, probably. But, so, yeah, like, I mean, if you're on the East Coast, you definitely relate to it more. And it's hard to pull off a show on the East Coast when you're on the West Coast. But it's going well, definitely.
Yeah, so American Housewife comes back this Wednesday, right? It comes back this Wednesday. Yeah. And so thank you very much.
Yeah, it's back this Wednesday. Probably the next. It's back in May, so I guess we've been on like a 2-week leave. I know people are struggling without it, but I understand.
Yeah, I definitely have. I've been in my bed, depressed. I'm like, when is this show coming back? I need it.
Yeah, you know, like I appreciate that people, they wait all week for like a 30-minute, half-hour comedy. I appreciate that, and they look forward to it so much. That's great.
Yeah,
and I'm glad thank you. Tonight, so that's pretty great.
It is really great. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.